When a man reaches the edge, after he goes as far as any man can possibly go, how does his son continue?
What if everything we were taught in elementary school about the globe and outer space was created by the elites to make it easier for them to control the population? That's the underlying premise of this entire video. What if? It's one of the most difficult things to comprehend because we've been programmed since birth to believe in lies. Santa Claus, the Tooth Fairy, the Easter Bunny, the moon landings, Antarctica, the globe, and the solar system. Anything's possible at this point, especially because the government has been caught lying to us thousands of times. We're supposed to believe that Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin called Richard Nixon in the Oval Office on his landline rotary phone from the moon. I can't even get cell phone reception in the back of my garage or in my basement most of the time. It's one of the stupidest stories in history, and if they're lying about one thing, it's highly likely that they're lying about the whole thing. This is supposedly what our universe looks like. All the space footage you've ever seen is computer generated, just like what you're witnessing right now. There has never been video footage or pictures taken from space by a GoPro or Canon camera because space and our solar system are not real. It is impossible for us to reach outer space because we live in an enclosed system. There is a firmament above us which is mentioned in the Bible on the very first page. Psalms 104:5 reads, "God established the earth on its foundation so that it will not be moved." This verse describes God establishing the earth with a stable foundation, ensuring its permanent stability. The first thing you need to understand is that flat earthers don't believe we live on a DVD without a boundary that's floating around with all the other planets and stars in the solar system. It's not that they believe something absurd and that NASA's explanation is logical or makes sense, it's the opposite. They believe in logic and what all our ancestors before us believed for centuries, and that NASA's explanation is absurd. Believing that we live in the middle of infinite nothingness on a spinning water ball, and that they have the technology hidden in a secret room somewhere that can measure trillions of light years away, is one of the dumbest things imaginable. There is nothing about it that makes sense, and that was their original goal. They did this to make you feel insignificant. They did this to make you feel like they're smarter than you so that you never question them. It creates sheep in a world where wolves who run in packs have dominated since the beginning of whatever time your ideology says it began. NASA and the idea of space were solely created with the intention of government control. The space race played a significant part in the Cold War. The Americans and the Soviets competed to prove their technological and intellectual superiority by becoming the first nation to put a human into space. From the beginning to the end, the world's attention was captivated by this contest for dominance. People ask me, hasn't the flat earth theory been debunked? I want you to consider how strongly flat earth videos are smothered by the algorithms. They hired people to do controlled opposition videos and boost them like crazy to smother real videos showing evidence. The first time I posted this video, no way, it only got 1,800 impressions over the course of 90 days. All of my other videos get 1,800 impressions within the first 3 hours. If the flat earth theory was really that stupid and there was truly nothing to hide, they wouldn't go out of their way to smother them like they do, but that's not the case. They delete people's YouTube channels, Instagrams, TikToks, and anything related to the flat earth all the time. My only request is that you allow yourself the chance to believe that God's word is infinitely more true than the government. The only reason you're having a hard time jumping ship is because of how polarizing it is to think that NASA could actually lie about it. How could they ever pull this off? The government has trillions of dollars and 70 years invested into NASA. Do you think they would just come out and admit it was all a lie to control the population? Not a chance. What you're going to witness in this video makes far more sense than the story NASA came up with back in the 1960s. If they admitted the truth, the US government as we know it would fall almost immediately. The second thing you need to understand is the stars and the Earth's supposed rotation in orbit. When I realized the stars in our sky never change, that's when it hit me that NASA's story is absolute blasphemy. If the Earth was spinning at 1,000 miles per hour, orbiting the Sun at 66,000 miles per hour, moving through the universe at 560,000 miles per hour, and our entire Milky Way was blasting through space at 1.3 million miles per hour, we would never see the same stars twice. If you're having a hard time wrapping your head around that, it's normal. You have been indoctrinated by a system that was created to confuse you, and it worked. Just use your gut and trust your feelings. Does it feel like the ground below you is moving? Does it make sense that our stars and constellations never change? This is the first layer of the truth peeking around the corner, smiling right in your face. The moment it hits you, that's when the real magic begins. My brothers and sisters, we are not orbiting the sun every 365 days at 66,600 miles per hour. 666. That's the number NASA came up with, and it's not a coincidence. This has been explained in detail thousands of times. If you just look for the answers, everything NASA came up with leads directly to the mark of the beast, 666. For now, the ground below you is not moving. We are stationary. The sun, the moon, and the stars are local. They are what's orbiting above us, with the North Star being the center of everything. It's the absolute center of our universe, and it's nowhere near as far away as you think. Many believe Polaris is God's throne room, and that's exactly how he's able to watch over everything at all times. I want you to consider how our ancestors used the stars for navigation back in the day, because the stars never change. If we were rotating on a sphere at 1,000 miles an hour, traveling around the sun at 66,000 miles per hour, the stars we would see above us would be completely different at 25%, 50%, 75%, and back to where they are now in a rotating circle. And remember, the night stars are always facing outwards away from the sun. The ones I see above my head tonight are the same every day of the year. I've been watching this intently almost every night for the past 8 months. They don't change here in North America, and they should be completely different every 3 months. Just like the ones above the heads of everyone in Australia, what they see tonight above them will never change. When you stop quoting and trusting first grade science class and really think about our night sky, it is absolutely impossible to have the same sky and constellations above us every night, given what you see in the picture. That is, unless we are what's stationary and the stars above us are what's rotating. Check this out. I know this is hard to comprehend, but please rewind this section if needed. I cannot stress to you enough that if they're lying about one thing, it's highly likely that they're lying about the whole thing. What we were taught in school about the solar system is the greatest lie ever told.
Our planet rotates from west to east, so it's rotating counterclockwise. So if you were to take a plane from San Diego, California to Atlanta, Georgia, then you would be going with the rotation of the Earth. But from that latitude, the Earth would be spinning roughly 870 miles per hour, and a commercial airliner flies at 550 miles per hour. So that means that the Earth would be spinning faster than you. And if you were taking a flight from Atlanta to San Diego, since you would be going against the rotation of the Earth, then the flight time should be way faster than the one from San Diego to Atlanta. But it's only like a 30-minute difference. And if you were flying from San Diego to Atlanta, then you would never even actually make it to Atlanta, because the Earth would be spinning over 200 miles per hour faster than you. 300 miles per hour faster. And people say that's because the atmosphere is rotating with the Earth simultaneously. But what about all of these atmospheric events? Tornadoes, hurricanes, all sorts of different weather conditions in the atmosphere. If a hurricane has winds of 120 miles per hour, it will quite literally rip the roofs off of buildings.
The moment you leave the ground, you are independent of the Earth. Its rotation would have nothing to do with you. If the Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour like NASA claims, that would equal 17 miles per minute. The Earth supposedly rotates from west to east in a counterclockwise motion. That would mean you would never be able to fly east to any location from San Diego, because commercial airplanes only travel at around 500 miles per hour. The Earth would be moving faster than you, so you would have to fly west around the Earth against the rotation to get to any state east of California. This phenomenon would affect skydivers too, but it doesn't. The average skydive freefall is 1 minute. The average parachute duration is 7 minutes. The total time to ground is roughly 8 minutes. 8 minutes times 17 miles is 136 miles. The runway below you would be 136 miles away by the time you finally reach the ground. That is the distance from downtown Greenville, South Carolina to downtown Atlanta, Georgia. When I went skydiving, the runway stayed directly below me the whole time. This happened because we live on stationary land. If you're having a hard time wrapping your head around this basic fact, it's because you've been indoctrinated your whole life to believe a book of lies. We were taught in elementary school that the atmosphere is moving with the globe. That couldn't be further from the truth. It's time to wake up, folks. The ground below you is not moving.
Here are the most confusing moments of Interstellar explained. Professor Brand is the father of astronaut Dr. Amelia Brand, and has dedicated his entire life and career to solving the gravity equation. Once he passes away, Murph takes on the responsibility of searching for the answer, but throughout the movie, it is never made clear what exactly they have been after. What is apparent is the purpose. Once this mysterious equation is solved, humans will be able to use gravitational anomalies to manipulate gravity and to safely get everyone off the planet. The snag in the plan is that the data from inside a black hole is needed to complete it. No one has ever seen inside a black hole, so there was no way to get the data until Cooper. For obvious reasons, the movie couldn't get into the gritty scientific details of the fake equation, but what is important to know is that anomalies are crucial to the solution, and a black hole is the biggest anomaly of all. When Coop goes inside the black hole Gargantua at the end of Interstellar and transmits that data to Murph, she is finally able to solve the equation and save humanity.
The primary plot piece in the movie Interstellar is understanding and manipulating gravity to save humanity. Both Albert Einstein and Isaac Newton took a shot at it but came up short. Even Nikola Tesla took a shot at it before realizing that gravity isn't even real. We later realized that density and buoyancy are the explanation for what we experience here on Earth. Gravity is a made-up theory to explain planetary orbits, tides, and satellite paths. If gravity is what they're using to explain entire oceans sticking to a ball, then you or I would never be able to lift our foot off the ground. Imagine how much force it would take to suck the entire Indian Ocean to the southern hemisphere of the globe. It would be the strongest pull imaginable. Do you think gravity just decided to give you and all the butterflies flying around a break? Density and buoyancy explains exactly what happens in the air and water, which are the two mediums on Earth that nobody can deny. Objects fall not because of gravity, but because of density. Things fall because they are denser than the air around them, just like items sink because they are denser than the water around them. Helium balloons rise because they are less dense than the air around them, and tennis balls float because they are less dense than the water below them. I'll say it again, Newton, Einstein, and Tesla never figured out the formula for gravity. And that's for a very obvious reason. It's simply not real.
The Navy admits in their defense magazine that their laser weapon that has no curvature to it whatsoever, it's not curving, can shoot down Russian and Chinese cruise missiles flying 50 feet over the water over 100 miles away. Now let me explain to you what 100 miles is, because you didn't know a minute ago what curvature is supposed to be there at 100 miles. I'll tell you. If the Earth is a sphere 24,901 miles in circumference, the 8 inches per mile squared on average means that in 100 miles there should be 6,666 feet of curvature. That's well over a mile of curve. There is no laser weapon shooting from a Navy ship doing this to hit a missile moving at Mach 4. I'm sorry, but the Navy admits by that the Earth is level and non-rotating.
In 2016, a group of independent researchers gathered at a salt flat in Bolivia, one of the flattest surfaces on Earth. Their mission, to test something that's rarely questioned but absolutely foundational. How far can you see before the curve takes it all away? According to the globe model, Earth curves at 8 inches per mile squared. That means objects should disappear from view beyond a certain distance, hidden by the curve. So they set out with lasers, high-zoom cameras, and infrared tech. Their goal wasn't to prove anything, just to measure how far light and sight could travel in open, uninterrupted space. They placed a laser just 3 feet above the surface. According to globe math, it should have been invisible beyond 6 miles, but the beam remained visible at 10 miles, then 15, then over 20. No curvature blocked it. Next, they filmed distant buildings, boats, and islands across large lakes, sometimes 30, 40, even 100 miles away. According to the globe model, these objects should have been hidden behind hundreds of feet of Earth's curve. but the entire structure, base to top, remained visible. No atmospheric bending, no magic refraction, just direct line of sight. And then came the most damning test of all. 2 flags were set up miles apart on a frozen lake, with a third person holding a camera at the same height in the middle. If Earth was curved, the middle flag should have appeared higher due to the curve, but all 3 lined up perfectly, dead flat. Over and over again, from lakes to coastlines, the same result. No curvature. Even over distances that should hide entire skylines, everything stayed in view, right where it should be on a flat plane. These weren't conspiracies. They were measurable, repeatable, real-world distance experiments. No matter how far they tested, the curve never appeared, and the only thing that disappeared was the credibility of the spinning globe theory.
Antarctica is not what you have been told. It is a 360-degree ice wall that encompasses our stationary Earth. It contains the oceans because water always needs a container. It cannot just stick to a spinning ball. This is what all of our ancestors told us. You can go see the ice wall, but you'll be met with military and all that stuff because we're actually not allowed to explore Antarctica. It's the only place in the entire world that every country came together and said that we can't go there. After Admiral Byrd had his expedition and said that there was lands beyond the ice wall. This is why the UN logo is a flat Earth map with the ice wall. They always put the truth in plain sight. Now, Admiral Byrd was the last man to freely explore Antarctica, and after his expedition, he said this, and I quote, "Strangely enough, there is an area left in the world today, an area as big as the United States that's never been seen by a human being, and that's beyond the pole on the other side of the South Pole from Little America." Richard E. Byrd. Now, what if everything that we've been told about Antarctica is a giant lie? Because beyond the ice wall, he claimed to have seen continents that were larger than the United States. And when we look at old, ancient maps just like this, it lines up with exactly what he was saying, where Antarctica is an ice wall encompassing our flat stationary Earth, and that there are lands beyond the ice wall. Where this even gets more interesting is shortly after his expedition, the Antarctic Treaty was established, where the entire world came together for the first time in history and agreed on something. They agreed that we can't go visit Antarctica. Isn't that very interesting that the world governments don't want us to go there? Speaking of world governments, this is the United Nations logo. It's a flat Earth map with Antarctica encompassing our stationary Earth. What's even more mind-blowing about this logo is there's 33 sections to it, 33 degrees to Freemasonry, because all these people, they're all high-ranking Freemasons who deceive humanity. What's also very interesting is inside the United Nations, there's a dome-like structure with stars on the ceiling. Then to cap it all off, this is a map that hangs inside the United Nations headquarters. What do you guys see here? The ice wall, the lands beyond, just like Richard Byrd told us when he went and explored it. And now we can't go back to Antarctica, and all the globies are like, we live on a globe. This is how they laugh at all the peons, guys. Because it's the highest form of ignorance to believe that we live on a spinning ball defying all laws of physics. And they put the truth right in your face over and over and over again.
You still think these things are going to space? Aw, that's adorable. Why don't you let me show you some things that might just cause you to question your belief in that? First, let me just ask you something. Do you even know how fast these space shuttles are supposedly traveling to be able to leave Earth? 17,000 miles per hour, and even faster at 25,000 miles per hour to leave Earth's gravity completely. Do you know how fast that is? Do you know how fast a bullet travels? A bullet speed varies, but it can go up to 3,000 miles per hour. So you're telling me those shuttles are going 8 times faster than a bullet. Have you ever seen them take off? No, seriously. Have you ever watched them take off and then take flight and compared their speed to the clouds? When you get rid of all the noise and you just look at it versus hearing it and seeing the flames, seems suspiciously slow. And remember, they tell us they go 17,000 and up to 25,000 miles per hour. They'll tell you a hypersonic jet speed is defined as anything going Mach 5 or 3,800 miles per hour. And they'll say, well, speeds have been reached of Mach 10 only in unmanned craft like NASA's X-43A. Current manned aircraft have reached about Mach 6.7. Mach 6.7 is 4,500 miles per hour, but there are supposedly dozens and dozens of astronauts who have gone 17,000 miles per hour. Why don't we look at what an actual hypersonic jet taking off looks like compared to a NASA rocket, or a SpaceX rocket, in fact. Notice the clouds? Keep watching.
Section 35, plus 30 seconds, Starship.
You want to see what a hypersonic sled traveling at 6,500 miles per hour looks like?
Why did almost every ancient civilization describe a flat earth under a dome, or what they called the firmament? Egyptians, Hebrews, and even secret societies like the Freemasons show the same thing in their symbols. Look at the Bible. Genesis says God made the firmament and divided the waters above from the waters below. If you zoom in on stars with a powerful camera, like a Nikon P900, they don't look like distant balls of fire. They shimmer like they're underwater. Does that sound like outer space to you, or water above the dome? And let's talk about the North Star. If we were spinning and flying through space at crazy speeds, the stars should be moving randomly, but they don't. They rotate in perfect circles around the North Star, as if everything out there is turning while we stay still. Now, why would they hide this from us? It's simple: control. If you knew the truth that Earth is flat and surrounded by a dome, you'd start questioning everything. The elites want us believing in endless space to keep us chasing distractions. It's easier to control people when they don't know their place in the world.
What about satellites? Did you know that NASA has hundreds of these satellite balloons up in the air right now? I never knew these NASA satellites existed before Flat Earth. Have you seen them? Google and many other companies have fleets of these balloons as well. Look up Project Loon. The fact that NASA and its subsidiaries hardly discuss these so-called satellites was a huge proof for me, because it evinces a deliberate effort to conceal the fact that space satellites don't exist. The whitewash of these balloon satellites is evidence that they are lying about space satellites. These high-altitude balloons can carry 8,000 pounds and include telescopes, radar equipment, communications equipment, internet, etc. Here's one that almost killed some people. Finally, look at these actual NASA videos of satellites. They are manifestly fake. Look at this one. Give it a balloon.
So you mean Google Earth wasn't just a cool project from some Silicon Valley nerds?
Not even close. It was bankrolled by the CIA through their shadowy venture firm Quantum Dynamics at the direct request of Richard Constantine, the so-called ruler of the Outer Lands. The company that built it wasn't even Google. It was Orion Systems, founded by a former video game designer named Mark Elwood. And the Earth you see when you zoom out, that's not real satellite footage. No one has ever photographed the entire globe from space. What they did was stitch together thousands of high-altitude aerial images inside the atmosphere, then wrap them around a digital sphere. You're literally looking at a 3D render of their choosing, not reality. And ask yourself, why did Constantine need this illusion built? Because if the world knew about the lands beyond the ice wall, everything collapses. Governments, history, borders, control. So instead, they gave you a digital cage to live inside.
I'm not going to say a lot in this video. I'm going to let my little buddy here do the talking for me. But first, let me just show you where I took a trip to. And let's just look to see how far I was away from a certain city, and how much obscurity that distance should be showing on a curving ball, and how tall the tallest building is in that certain city. I'm going to let my little buddy, the Nikon P950, do the talking for me. And let's see what we can see. That's strange. Why can I see that? I don't get it. Do you get it?
The Earth you know is a deception. A massive flat disk with the North Pole at its heart, encircled by an impenetrable Antarctic ice wall that guards secrets beyond imagination. This classified briefing exposes the suppressed truth. Deep in the center, the North Pole anchors everything, a 1,200-kilometer ice cap where celestial bodies whirl above. Continents fan out radially, perfectly flat, with horizons stretching 100 kilometers without curve. But the edge, that's the Antarctic wall, 45 to 60 meters high, a colossal barrier of fractured ice spanning over 100,000 kilometers, holding back oceans and repelling explorers with brutal winds.
Good evening, everyone. What I'm going to be doing in today's video is showing you guys what the sun looks like up close with an ND5 foil solar filter, which allows us to be able to see through the brightness of the sunlight to actually see the shape of the sun, its texture, what it looks like. And I'm going to show you 3 different views from 3 different days, and you're going to see that the sun always looks the same, always has these same little spots on it, which I'll get to here in a second. Let's get zoomed in. There we go. Now you see these little black, look like little black dots on the sun. Now, to be honest with you, I don't know exactly what they are, but I know every time that I zoom in on it, they're in the same spot. Just like when you zoom in on the moon, all the craters are in the same spot that they've always been in. Every time I zoom in on this sun, these little spots are in the same place every time on different days, no matter which day that you zoom in on it with the solar filter. And the cool thing about the solar filter is most of the time you can use your P1000 or your P900 and you'll never be able to see what I just showed you without the solar filter, because the sun is too bright, and this filter, it just filters out that brightness so you can actually, like I told you earlier, see the texture of the sun itself. Now you're getting ready to see those little black holes, those little black dots again, in the same place that you seen them when I showed you the first time. They're always there, which tells me that this is not a big ball of fire like they tell us that it is. That's a bunch of bull crap. You don't see a big ball of fire anywhere on this. It just looks like a big light with some little black dots, holes in it. Not to mention the fact that I shouldn't be able to zoom in on this at all with a camera. It's supposedly 93 million miles away. Think about that, 93 million miles away. Trust me, there is no camera in the world that can see 93 million miles away. But anyways,
my buddy sent me this photo yesterday, guys. He's like in the middle of the Mediterranean. The sun is in the middle of the clouds, right in front of your face. Let me tell you something real quick here. The highest form of the slave mind is seeing something with your own eyes, feeling something with your own senses, and then still thinking what goes against what you see and what you feel. Because you've been programmed so heavily your whole entire life, you go against what you see and what you feel with your own senses. That is the highest form of the slave mind. That is the perfect person that the elites want to control. That is you. This is something that we observe over and over and over and over again. The sun is in the middle of the clouds. Here they drop it to a negative resolution. You can see Like, it's completely obvious. It's right in front of your face. This right here is exactly what all of our wisest ancestors told us, that the sun and the moon is local. It's within the firmament. That's why we see it within the clouds so many times. It is impossible to live on a globe, guys. It defies all laws of physics. This is not possible if the sun is 93 million miles away. Here is the gyroscope, the artificial horizon. The sun is below the horizon, within the clouds. It's in front of your face. Stop being a slave. If you see this and think that this is possible with the sun 93 million miles away, 1 million times bigger than the earth, and you are the highest form of the slave mind, a good little sheep. Here's the Egyptians, stars on the firmament, sun and moon within the firmament. This is exactly what we see. This is exactly what we feel. And you guys still choose to believe your government. People are like, go back to school, get an education. These education systems are owned by the elites, by the government. All of it is meant to brainwash you and keep you a slave. People ask me this question all the time. What is the difference? What does it matter if it's flat or round? That is the dumbest question that I've ever heard. Let me break it down for you guys. If you can understand that they've held this lie and they've gone to such lengths to lie to you your whole entire life about the shape of the earth, what are they truly hiding? First of all, knowledge is power. The more knowledge you hold over the population, the more power you hold over the population. And what they're truly hiding is God's true creation. And here's the thing, when you understand and you know God's true creation, you know that there's no scarcity, there is no evolution, there is no Big Bang. We were created intelligently with purpose. We have a creator that loves us. Then you would know you're not meant to slave in their system. You would break free and escape this matrix and connect to the God within you. This is what they're hiding, guys.
If you were to get in a helicopter and fly it, let's say, 10,000 feet into the air, and you were in Ecuador when you did this, hypothetically speaking, 12 hours later, if you landed that helicopter, you would be on the polar opposite side of the globe. Given the fact that the globe is apparently spinning at 1,000 miles per hour on the equator. So what's the explanation for this? Because this doesn't happen. You can fly a helicopter up into the air for 30, 36 hours and land it back down in the same exact position that you took off from. This is observable, measurable, provable. There is no Coriolis effect taken into account when you take a plane off, when you land a plane, when you cross the equator, suddenly you're upside down. There's no way to actually measure or prove any of that whatsoever. But we can measure and prove that the helicopter lands in the same exact place 12 hours later, which would mean that the Earth couldn't be spinning at 1,000 miles per hour. Oh, but the winds are spinning at 1,000 miles per hour in tandem with the rotation of the Earth, and gravity explains all of this for some magical reason, even though we have wind currents that are completely separate from the rotation of the Earth.
ABC Digital wanted to give you the opportunity to swear on the Bible that you walked on the moon. Will you put your left hand on the Bible and swear to God that you walked on the moon?
Gentlemen. Mr. Cybro.
Yes? If you really walked on the moon, why would you not do that? So why don't you just put the end to the record in the argument and put your hand on the Bible, swear to God you walked on the moon.
Mr. Cybro, knowing you, that's probably a fake Bible.
Really? Well, no, it's a real Bible. You have the opportunity to have $5,000.
The meeting is not open.
Well, you have $5,000 cash. You can give it to charity if you swear on the Bible that you walked on the moon.
Please
I have
give
a
it to
tape.
charity. It'd be fine.
Why don't you swear to? Why not? Why won't you do it? So why don't you put your hand on the Bible and swear to God that you walked on the moon?
Mr. Cybro has made a fool of himself in front of the world. Mr. Cybro, you do not deserve answers.
What was the scariest moment of the journey?
Scariest? It didn't happen. It could have been scary.
Why has nobody been to the moon in such a long time?
Because we didn't go there, and And that's the way it happened.
I remember my parents waking me up and we went down and we watched you guys land on the moon,
No,
which
you
was...
didn't. No, you didn't.
What?
You watched animation. So you associated what you saw with...
I have very hazy memory.
Not a bad line. Not a bad line.
There is no such thing as gravitational pull.
I perpetrated a huge fraud, which I am now about to detail.
Okay.
Involving the United States government and NASA.
All right.
And I'm sure you've heard the rumors.
The moon landing hoax?
That's right. That the moon landing was fake. The moon landings all were fake. And I was the person who filmed it. The conspiracy theorists were right on this occasion.
Why?
I don't know about Paul McCartney's death, but this they were right about.
Okay, why in God's name would... I don't know what to ask you first. Why the hell, if you're telling the truth, why would you do it? Why are you telling me? I mean, what the...
Don't you think it's important for people to know the truth?
Yeah, yes, certainly.
They had a massive fraud, an unparalleled fraud perpetrated against them. They should know.
Okay.
I mean, they're already suspicious of the government. They may as well have their suspicions confirmed.
Don't you guys find it interesting that we haven't gone back to the moon since 1969? I wonder why.
I'd go to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again.
We destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again. This is the technology that he's talking about. This is the painful process that is so difficult to build back again. What you're looking at right here, this absolute spectacle, this masterpiece just covered in tinfoil. Now, I know this is extremely difficult for a lot of people, but let's just use our common sense here. We went to the moon back when they didn't even have cell phones. Look at how far technology has advanced since then. You're telling me a $1 billion organization destroyed the technology for one of the greatest achievements in human history, apparently, and they can't build it back. Even though they had it in 1969, they can't build it back in 2025. Do you actually buy that? NASA is an anagram for Satan. That's why they say T minus, because it's minus the T. NASA in Hebrew, Nasha, also means to deceive. They're lying to you. They're stealing your tax money.
You know, they said the devil's in the details. Well, for some reason, NASA, along with the high religious priests of scientism, are obsessed with the number 666. So let's start with the so-called facts we're taught in school. We're told the Earth is orbiting around the Sun and moving at 66,600 miles per hour. That is the Earth's orbital speed around the Sun. Alright, well, like always, it's just a coincidence. Now, Earth's axial tilt is 23.4, but when you subtract it from 90-degree angle, a right angle, you get 66.6. Again, next up is curvature per mile drop. Now, according to the Pythagorean theorem, each mile is an 8-inch drop. 8 inches converted to feet is 0.66667 feet. If you take a look at the Antarctic and Arctic circles, it is 66.6 degrees north and 66.6 degrees south. Let's direct your attention to go over the diameter of the moon. It is 2,160 miles, supposedly. But if you do 6 times 6 times 60, it equals 2,160. And if you thought we were done, don't worry, there's plenty more. Speed of sound in knots equals 666 knots. Earth's circumference in nautical miles, 21,600 miles. Again, you get 600 times 6 times 6. How far is Mars from the Sun? 1.666 astronomical units. From Mercury, the Sun appears to be 6.66 times brighter. And you can't forget that time the astronaut, or Peggy Whitson, spent 666 days in space.
By the time she lands in September, her tally will be 666 days in space. 666 days.
Of course, they soon realized that was a bit too reckless and obvious on their part, and changed it officially the next day. Now, the gravity theory was fabricated by Isaac Newton in the year 1666. And what's the story you believe? An apple fell on his head? Yeah, I'm sure there's nothing occult about that. This isn't just a few examples. We're talking hundreds of units of measurements with 666 in them. Like, what are the odds, or should I say, how gullible does one have to be to actually buy that? In case you haven't realized, our entire reality is infiltrated with satanic numerology and symbolism. The Washington Monument is 66,660 inches tall, with the parameter being 666 inches. You can't make this shit up. And then you go into all these brands and company logos, right, that have the 666 in everything they do. Taco Bell has 666 in their logo. I think we all know enough about Disney. And then we have these fake Monster energy drinks, right? The Claw, the 666 in Hebrew numericals. And then it's the same thing with Volkswagen logo and so on. It's pretty interesting, right? It's almost like a lot of these major corporations won't buy or sell unless they have the mark of the beast, the 666, on their logo. Now where's that from again? Revelation 13:16. He required everyone, great and small, rich and poor, slave and free, to be given a mark on the right hand or on the forehead. And no one could buy or sell anything without the mark, which was either the name of the beast or the number representing his name. His number is 666. It is all connected, folks. You are living in a satanic system. The nihilism, the heliocentric model, the NASA deception, the evolution theory, this entire age of degeneracy. None of it is random. It is strategic mind control. From birth, you're groomed to worship science as your god, to believe that you're a random accident on a spinning water ball with no divine inherent purpose, and that you're the descendant of monkeys, and then you end up trusting the very agencies that mock you. You've been lied to about who and where you are. We are the center of God's divine creation, and they spend billions of dollars each and every year to hide that from you. You were placed here to do more than just consume, chase pleasure, and work a slave job for 40 plus years to then quietly die in debt. You can believe this is all just coincidence and continue walking in your slumber like the rest of the world. Or you can wake up and start asking why everything from NASA to Nickelodeon is soaked in satanic numerology. Your call.
The sun is local and much smaller than we've been told. It's a divine luminary that provides life to us all. Not a random ball of gas 93 million miles away. They've convinced you the sun is 400 times larger than the moon despite appearing identical in size, seeing them at the same time in the day. And in reality, they're complementary opposites. They both follow the same path, rotating above us just as your senses perceive. They are what moves, not the ground beneath our feet. Triangulation itself is geometric proof of a local sun. It allows us to determine the distance of an object as depicted here above. The angles and distance between the reference points on the ground are all you need to understand that it's not millions of miles away. It's impossible for the sun to be millions of miles in diameter, or else we'd never see such dramatic changes in its size either. And the sun doesn't go over the horizon, or what we call a sunset. It simply leaves your field of perspective. We also see that the temperature of direct moonlight is cooler than the temperature of shade itself, thus further proving that these two luminaries are unique and opposite in nature. It also undercuts NASA's claims that the moon reflects the sun's light, as a spherical body can never reflect light in the same manner. Beyond the multiple examples in the Bible, Quran, and Vedas, and many other ancient texts clearly stating our world is unique, stable, immovable, it's obvious to every sober-minded child and adult that the sun, moon, and stars, and planets, and every other light in the sky are what revolve over us. The sun tells the time, the moon tells the days, and the stars tell what month it is. A perfectly designed timepiece. It's imperative to those who represent evil itself to sever our connection with the Creator.
Massive engineering projects like the Suez Canal were built across 100 plus miles with zero curvature adjustment. Perfectly flat. No arc. No correction. Commercial airline pilots fly thousands of miles without ever tilting the nose downward to follow a curve. Flight manuals don't mention curvature at all. At cruising altitude, the horizon always stays at eye level, whether you're at sea or 35,000 feet. It never drops, as it should on a sphere. Sunlight often appears in sharp, angled beams, creating small, focused light spots on the ground. That kind of light behavior suggests proximity, not 93 million miles. There has never been a single, continuous, real-time video of the Earth rotating in space. All we have are stitched clips, CGI, and composite images. Antarctica is off-limits for independent exploration. Since 1959, it's been locked behind international military protection. You can't just go there. The deeper you look, the more obvious it becomes.
Take this ball here, pour a whole bunch of water on it, and watch none of the water fall off the bottom. It all sticks onto it. And while that's happening, and the water stays stuck. Not only that, you're at 1,000 miles an hour spinning this way, which also at 67,000 miles an hour, 67,000 miles an hour, while spinning 1,000, you're circling around the sun, And while that's happening, you're also chasing the sun through the Milky Way at 514,000 miles an hour. And every single night, the stars are exactly the same. Every single night. Every single night, the stars never change. Polaris is always exactly where it is.
Do you want a surefire way to know if you've been indoctrinated? Follow along. If you know that the water in this glass lays flat and level, and the water in this hot tub is flat and level, and the water in that pool is flat and level, and the water in that pond is flat and level, well then what allows the water to be curving over thousands of miles on this? If you answered gravity, you're indoctrinated. And look, I don't say that with any judgment. I was indoctrinated. Every single one of us was indoctrinated. I want you to notice something. Notice how the water on the ball is seeking its level. It's not sticking to it. Oh, but this ball's not big enough, you might be saying, right? Well, let's get a bigger ball and even spin it. And what's that water do? It's still seeking its level. And maybe you're still saying, but no, you don't understand. The Earth is so big. You can't duplicate gravity on anything smaller. Well, do you know that the laws of physics, they don't change with size? And the theory of gravity, well, do you know it has nothing to do with mass attracting mass anymore? It's actually the bending and warping of space-time.
If the sun was truly that big, then it would not change so dramatically. This is because the sun is a local entity. North is the center of the Earth. This is why all compasses will point to the north, because this is the most magnetic point of Earth. This is the center of the electromagnetic field. South is anything outward from the center. So that is south and that is south. East is right around the center. If you are here and you go east, you would end up in the same position. West is the opposite. If you are here and you go left around the center, then you would end up in the same position. So this is how the sun truly works. This is why we have 4 seasons. We have 3 tropics. We have the Tropic of Capricorn, the Equator, the middle ring, and the Tropic of Cancer, the inner small ring. The sun rotates doing a big circle into small circle, then back out from the small circle back into the big circle. The northern people are the people below this ring, which is the equator, the northern. When the sun is in the small ring, the Tropic of Cancer, this is now the summertime for the northern people. But then it spirals back out to the equator, which is Libra, and then back out to the Tropic of Capricorn, the outer ring. That is now the winter time for the northern people, and the summertime for the people in these outer lands. Then the sun, once it's done in the winter time, the Tropic of Capricorn, it will slowly spiral back inward and repeat this process every single year.
All right, this is a perfect video that demonstrates exactly how the sun sets on the true model of Earth, on the flat Earth. So we put a transparent hallway over the ocean. Mind you guys, this hallway could be infinite. This is how you view this from your perspective. This is all due to perspective. You're going to see the sun moves exactly the way a hallway would be seen with our eyes, because it's just moving in and out of our perspective. That's all it's doing. It never actually sets. This is exactly how it works, guys. The sun just moves in and out of our perspective. This is exactly what we see with our own eyes, with our own senses. Exactly what all of our ancestors told us. This is why we view perfectly angled crepuscular rays from the sun, because it's local. They all told us this. This is exactly why there's time zones, guys. Like Canada and BC are 3-hour difference, but the sun is 93 million miles away and 1 million times bigger than the Earth. No, the sun sets at the exact same time, but it's actually a 3-hour difference, right? This is why. This is how it works. Again, exactly why we view perfectly angled crepuscular rays from. This is clearly a local sun. This is not possible if the sun is 93 million miles away, 1 million times bigger than the Earth, and light only travels straight. It's not possible. Like, open your eyes.
Little experiment I did. I'm using a small flashlight to represent the sun, and it's about 1 inch off the ground. And I'm also using a piece of cardboard that I cut slots into it to represent the clouds. Now you will notice, I could have started back a little bit further, but it's far enough. You can see. You will notice the further I am away from the light source, the flashlight in this situation, the more parallel the light rays will be. You notice the closer I get to the light source, you will see the light rays begin to form angles which lead back to the source of light, creating corpuscular rays, which is exactly what we experience when we observe the sunlight and the rays peeking through the clouds.
A series of 31 missiles were shot straight up into the sky to test how high humans can actually reach. They quickly figured out not far at all.
It seems that whenever they were shooting these missiles up into the sky, they were actually interacting with different layers of this plasma field or this electromagnetic phenomena, and it seems to have fluid-like properties. As it actually hits a certain portion of this force field, if you will, it begins to disperse and seek equilibrium based on the impedance of the electromagnetic layers.
Why is it when we review this footage that these things are exploding? It looks like they're hitting a barrier.
Testing the strength of the firmament, and they weren't able to penetrate it.
What's going on there? What is this? In my opinion, I think that they were trying to find a way to possibly get out.
We can see God's dwelling place from here on Earth. This is the North Star. Everything circles the North Star and it has never moved. The Georgia Guidestones prove this. You could have looked through this hole at any time of day and Polaris was always there. They were conveniently destroyed. Ancient star maps also prove this, as well as the pyramids. Here's a picture I took of the North Star. Notice how it's a triangle. The North Star is also called Polaris, which means heaven. Here's a page from my 1863 illustrated Bible. This is Judgment on Jerusalem. Look at what's doing the judging. A sky triangle with beams of light coming out of it. Now, during the Festival of Tabernacles, remember, they were camping in these triangular tents. And then I started to notice that in artwork, God the Father, or the Trinity, is always within a triangle.
This team launches a weather balloon straight up to touch the firmament to prove that the firmament is there and we can't get past it. And about 46 minutes later, it stops rising. And you're going to see as the camera planes, the horizon stays to your eye level no matter how high you go, and it is flat, which only happens on a flat surface. They proved that it's touching the firmament. It can't go any further. And it's crazy that people deny this. And it's funny because the same people who deny the existence of the firmament and the flat earth believe NASA over the Holy Bible, the first verses of the Holy Bible, by the way. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the depth. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, let there be light, and there was light. And God saw the light, and it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness, blah, 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 blah. And God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. As above, so below. There's waters above the firmament. That's why the sky is blue. He placed the earth firmly on its foundations. It cannot be moved forever and ever. Psalms 104:5. Kind of like it feels like we're not moving. Like it feels like we're not moving, right? That's how I feel. I don't feel like we're spinning at 1,000 miles per hour. How about you? Oh, you're going to ignore what you feel and see with your own senses and believe what you're told because you're a sheep.
Southern flights prove that the Earth is not a ball. This is the World Cup soccer. Oh. Okay? They were in Doha. They wanted to go back to Buenos Aires. They went to Rome to refuel, and then they went back there. Why didn't they just go here? Because if they did, there's no place to refuel out here. On a flat Earth, Doha, Rome, Buenos Aires. Taiwan to Los Angeles. They had an emergency right about here. Well, where would you land? Well, you could go to Hawaii. I might as well go to Los Angeles. Instead, they went all the way to Alaska. Okay?
Flat Earth.
Right? Flat Earth. Taiwan, Alaska, Los Angeles.
Ooh.
Okay. So, here's an emergency. They were going from New York to Hawaii, right about here, and they said we have to land. So they went to Seattle, which is like 1,000 miles out of the way. They got there in record time. New York, Seattle, Hawaii.
We look at their rockets. This is how they claim they get into outer space, is these rockets. Their rockets never go straight up. Every single rocket launch from a government space agency, you'll notice, follows a parabolic curve. It goes up It reaches a peak, but what they do is as the rocket starts coming back down, they make sure that it goes down over the ocean, out of the way of any curious observers. Anyone can see it coming back down to Earth, asks, hey, how come the rocket's not going up anymore? Well, it's going around the curvature of the Earth, is what they tell us. So every single rocket, the reason that it follows a parabolic curve, they say, is because it's going around the curvature of the Earth. The real reason is they can't get up any higher than that.
Sorry to tell you, the only thing that's been to space is your imagination.
Now, first of all, lad, we've got to get all these medieval ideas out of your head. Clear the way for new ideas. Knowledge of man's fabulous discoveries in the centuries ahead. Now that'll be a great advantage, boy.
Advantage indeed. If the boy goes about saying the world is round, they'll take him for a lunatic.
The world is round? Yes, that's right. And it also goes around.
There's people being paid to put together debunk videos for 9/11. There's websites being made. There's like documentaries put on like Nat Geo and shit to debunk 9/11 was a inside job.
Oh, to debunk that it was an inside job.
Yeah, because the people who were responsible for it, those same people are putting out the information. So when you go to YouTube, for instance, you punch in 9/11 inside job, you're not going to get any of the real videos. They got the search engines controlled. That's smart.
Yeah.
So all the videos that come up are going to be video. Like if people are interested in 9/11, they're going to go. They're going to go. That's not real. Because the real shit won't come up for a long time.
Yeah.
So they got the search engines controlled, right? That's smart.
Yeah.
Easy to do, right?
Easy to do.
So any conspiracy theory, same thing. You like JFK. Even for JFK, go to YouTube, go JFK, a conspiracy.
Yeah.
And you ain't gonna get no real shit. Not all the shit, the debunking shit comes up first. Right? Same thing. And wouldn't it be smart too? Wouldn't it be smart for the people that like for 9/11, for instance, to start a website that said 9/11insidejobtruth.com. Own that shit. Start talking about and sending people there, but meanwhile it's a debunker site.
Right.
Wouldn't that be a good idea?
Yeah.
That's what they do.
That's what they do.
That's what they do.
But
And they'll even have a documentary on cable that says 9/11 was it an inside job? Most people think, or a lot of people are now thinking that it's an inside job. Tonight at 11, we're going to investigate it. So it appears to be a
investigative.
Yeah, but it's not. But the one thing about flat Earth, you punch in flat Earth on YouTube, you're going to get all the debunkers. And like, why is there so many people working against it? It's crazy.
Yeah.
They're doing the exact same thing to flat Earth that they do to 9/11, JFK, Iran Contra. They got people producing debunking videos.
Yeah.
Like, why are you doing that if it's so stupid?
It's so stupid.
And you should ask yourself, why is there a debate about it? How is there a debate still? And this time with the internet, why are people? And there's so many people that are afraid to admit that they're looking into flat Earth because of the amount of ridicule you get. Like I would get in arguments with people, and that's the typical story. Everyone's trying to debunk it. And then the one thing that made me realize something was wrong is I always believed that the moon landings were faked. And that's what I thought NASA was. I thought NASA was in charge of the moon missions. I didn't think they were in charge of all space information. I thought there was all these scientists everywhere and they're figuring out, shit about the universe. And I realized, oh shit, all these pictures of Earth from space, they're all CGI composites. And NASA admits it. They go, you know what? We take the images and we take this information strips and then we get an artist to put together. I'm like, wait a minute. NASA is controlling all our space information? I go, NASA does that? I thought they just did the moon and the space shuttle.
Yeah. And NASA's gutter, dude. They've been around for 60 years. They've been to the moon allegedly 4 times.
No, 6 times.
Yeah, 6 times.
And then they destroyed all the technology? Yeah. Come on, man.
Dude, that's the worst. Man. If that was a business, you'd be like, this
Come on,
is
man. You guys are, you know what? They had to say they destroyed it. What are they going to say?
Yeah, what else are they going to say?
What are they going to let people... they destroyed all the video, the raw video footage, the raw audio footage, all the telemetry data, which tracked where they were in space. All that's gone. Like all the ancient cultures... They all believed we lived, the Hindus, everybody. They all believed we lived in an enclosed structure. Like this is a special place, and there's a firmament. It's in the Bible, and people, you can, the Bible ain't shit. The Bible ain't real. But break down like evolution and Darwin and Isaac Newton and they're all Freemason Jesuits, man. Yeah. All the major astronomers, Jesuit. It's all part of the plan. They control. Like the Vatican has the most powerful telescope And you know what its name is? Lucifer. The Jesuit goal is a one world order, one world code. All the secret societies, Skull and Bones, there's a bunch of them. Freemasons, there's a bunch of secret societies that all work together. They want a one world government. And the way it's going to happen is from a fake alien invasion. They're already preparing for it. They're doing it right now. It's Project Bluebeam. That's what they're doing. So I used to be really into aliens, big time. Then I realized, oh shit, they're tricking everybody. They're making it so the alien community. They're going, look, there's all these government programs, Project Blue Book. They're they got all these documents where they're investigating UFOs. The government really knows that shit is all done on purpose. So it looks like the government's hiding it. It looks like it is. So it makes you believe it. But meanwhile, they're not hiding it. They created it.
They created
Roswell, all that shit's fake. That's all fake. I used to believe that. I used to believe all that shit, crash UFOs and all that shit. That shit ain't real. They want you to believe that the government is trying to hide it. It's brilliant.
Yes.
So now I look at that. Now I look at all the UFO sightings. It's like, that's government shit.
Right.
They're making
they know that we're looking for it, so now they're putting it out there so that they can control it.
So once the fake alien invasion happens, everybody buys it hook, line, and sinker. We go one world government. And you can't, they go, why are they lying to us about space? You can't have a fake alien invasion without space.
Yeah.